it, he started driving a lot more aggressive. So right now they have a helicopter above this car, now driving the wrong side of the road on Santa Monica, making a hard turn there. We'll get you a cross street right there, possibly Lincoln. I think Lincoln's a little bigger of a street. But right now, this vehicle is still moving. Drunk driver, so impaired. Let's just say impaired driver. We're not sure what's impairing him, but you can see LAPD right behind him right there. And the numbers on that LAPD vehicle tell me that this is one of the original cars. These are one of the original PD cars from the Van Nuys area. Those are West Valley Division. We are in Santa Monica right now. Santa Monica PD obviously knows about this chase. As we get closer to the beach, people out here know streets are going to get tighter. Traffic's going to get tighter. There's going to be more pedestrians out here. We'll keep an eye on it. Definitely. Safety is the biggest deal out here, Peter, and we've been watching these pursuits, and LAPD, all law enforcement, basically that is their biggest thing. You can see some people out there basically driving the way they drive out there in Santa Monica, a car basically paralleling the street. Right now he's just kind of going right through it. We understand we're on Broadway. We're right at the mall area, so we're probably right by 3rd. And luckily there weren't a lot of people in that crosswalk. I'm just doing a little bit wider shot just so people at home can see the type of traffic, the smaller streets out here. And again, like you said, Peter, it is a holiday weekend. There might be a lot of people out here on the roads as far as cars go, but there also might be people out here just starting to celebrate the weekend a little earlier. Red lights, that hasn't been a concern of this guy. He's been running through every one of them. You can see right there a civilian vehicle, not really sure what was going on there, probably hitting those brakes. Lights and sirens, that's what the LAPD has got on. They're making a lot of noise. They're letting the people know that this is going on. That was a shot of the LAPD helicopter right behind it. Right now, though, we're on Ocean. You can see the number of people out there, and of course, the lights and sirens getting their attention. That's what they're supposed to do. We just went by the pier. Now, this car continues to kind of weave around through traffic out here. We'll see where he's going. Again, he's been making very erratic turns, not paying attention to safety at all. Red lights, he's been running every single one we've seen. Definitely, we're on the incline right there, or the decline as it would be on this side, going down onto the PCH Highway. California Highway Patrol know about this. Santa Monica PD know about this. LAPD, they are the ones that initiated this chase up in the Van Nuys area. Now we're on Santa Monica, northbound on PCH, heading out towards Malibu. I'm looking up ahead. Luckily, it seems to be very light traffic out here this early evening. We do see some brake lights coming up at some of the major intersections farther up. I'm talking like almost up by Sunset. Right now, though, this vehicle moving a little faster than freeway speeds. Got officers from LAPD behind him and in the air calling out the locations. Those lights and sirens, though, on the ground. They're critical to keep the public aware of what's going on. Give them heads up. Something's coming, might be dangerous. They have backed off a little bit. You can see them right there. Don't know if that's for safety. I haven't heard the words tracking. So that's they aren't out of it. They're basically still in pursuit. They're putting a little bit of distance between him and the police that are right behind him. We are starting to hear some of those tracking words right now. So they might back off and just keep an eye on him from the air. You know, Lena, Peter, if you or I were on the road this afternoon, we'd be sitting in traffic, upset about not being able to get anywhere. This guy this afternoon, it looks like every lane is wide open for him. Every time we come up to these lights, though, there is some traffic. So I stay a little bit wider as we get to these major intersections. Right now, though, he's catching those green lights. It's another big plus for him. Again, you just kind of wonder how that timing happens. They are very concerned about this person. Basically, they're saying DUI. That could mean impaired. But right now, we don't know what this person may be on, but they're saying impaired driving, and that was the original reason why they wanted to pull him over. We've seen fast moving, slow moving, running red lights, basically wrong side of the road a couple of times. Right now, We're on PCH northbound. We're going to be getting into Malibu here very shortly. I'm sure the Sheriff's Department know about this. They'll probably be advised. Not sure if they'll get involved. Right now, LAPD, it's an LAPD handle, meaning they're the ones that are following on the ground and in the air. You know, it's always amazing how that seems to happen. You know, pursuit traffic, you got a chase going on, freeways that are usually bumper to bumper, wide open. Right now, though, he is starting to hit the brakes. We did see a little group of cars in front of him, and we've seen him run red lights before. On Pacific Coast Highway, these are major intersections out here, and running red lights on these busy days like today, like he's doing right there, that one, at least he didn't just blow through it. He slowed down a little bit. There's a pedestrian, that lady jogging to get out of the way. The law enforcement, I got to wonder if they're going to do the same thing. Yes, they did. So they are still there behind them, lights and sirens, keeping the public aware of what's going on. They've got another group of cars coming up as we get up to another intersection, major intersection up here. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Hopefully this is going to end peacefully. But this person definitely doesn't want to stop, definitely doing what he or she can to keep away from the officers. The speeds, I'd say a little better than posted, so probably about 40 to 50 miles an hour this evening. Lena, that's probably one of the things that's on the table for them right now, and you kind of wonder, maybe there's some information that's not privy to us as the media this evening, but you are definitely correct. They're not saying stolen vehicles, so they do have a license plate from this car. They know who it is registered to. Is that the right now their intent is to bring this to an end peacefully. This vehicle continues to drive, maybe not as erratic as we've seen in the past. Definitely running red lights, though, driving against traffic, not good either. But right now you can see him kind of speeding up. That the Mini that he's passing right there, probably doing the speed limit, so he's just going a little bit faster. LAPD, as I understand it, I'm going to double check, still there behind him. A little bit farther back, but they are definitely behind him just in case this comes to an end. Right now, though, I can tell you we're getting close to, if we haven't passed, Topanga. But right now, this is still a full-on pursuit, LAPD in the air and on the ground as we make our way into the Malibu area this evening.
And something else to consider is just how far this driver has been able to go. He started in Van Nuys, and then that's when the LAPD started to chase him. He got onto the 405 freeway, went all the way down to Santa Monica. And then we saw him, when we picked up this chase, crisscross several surface streets before finally getting onto PCH, and now he's heading northbound into the Malibu area right now. But Stu, you know, we keep asking you, it just seems like this driver has no intention of stopping. He is just consistent. He is going at a pretty steady speed. What options do law enforcement have to stop this guy?
Well, Peter, that's the thing. Their pay grade much higher than ours. They have an arsenal of ideas, I'm sure. We've seen the spike strips being used. Right now, I don't think that's really something that they could use. I'm not saying we won't see it. We might see another agency, perhaps California Highway Patrol, or the Sheriff's Department join in a way, because he's basically been staying one direction on Pacific Coast Highway. He hasn't been driving through any of the neighborhoods. So perhaps they might have called ahead, said, hey, we got this going on. They're like, hey, we got you, brother. We're going to throw out some spike strips. Don't know if that's what's going on, but it is a possibility as long as he stays on PCH this evening. Wrong side of the road again. This is very dangerous stuff, and there's a little bit of a divider coming up through another intersection right there. I was kind of wondering if he was going to take a canyon road, because it started in the valley. Perhaps he's going to be heading back that way. I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to go that direction, but it does seem he is right now. I'll get it.
Is this Las Virgenes?
I'm going to figure out if this is it may be Topanga. We'll get a street here in just a second, but definitely taking one of the canyons. And I would guess that If it's not La Tuna, it's definitely going to be Topanga. That's going to be Topanga. So a little bit windy, some real hairpins out here. Traffic unusually light as we make our way into the canyon right now. It's less traffic or less opportunity for cross streets, that's for sure. If he gets those higher speeds though, with all those twists and turns, it's just going to, you know, chill the blood as we start making our way into the Topanga Canyon area.
And not to mention the fact that this driver is believed to be impaired. This is a very twisty, dangerous area, especially if it's dark like this and you certainly don't seem to know where you're going at a pretty high rate of speed. Now the driver's safety is in danger, it appears.
Well, driver safety also is something that we can't stress enough. Law enforcement also concerned about suspects. They don't want to see anybody get hurt in any type of situation. Personally, you know, he's driving pretty normal, but we've seen him cross those double lines. And if he gets too fast around a corner, something happens, somebody coming the other direction. These are one lane each direction. Very dangerous situation. Of course, he's on the hillside right now, but so much could happen. His speeds seem to have mellowed. That's the only word I can really come up with. He's just moving along here. Topanga Canyon, we're heading back towards the valley right now. California Highway Patrol, they're still back. I'm sorry. LAPD, still back there. Lights and sirens, the helicopter's still above. We're all keeping an eye on him as he's making his way up the canyon back towards Topanga, the actual area of Topanga, the valley where this thing may have started earlier.
Yeah, if he keeps on going, he will end up back at the valley. Now, according to the LAPD, this started on the southbound 405 at Roscoe just before 8 o'clock. We're dealing with a possible DUI driver right now, and the information, Stu, that I'm getting is that this car actually has paper plates. And if that's the case, it's got paper plates, that they aren't able to run the license plate to find out that who it's registered to. So that's something else that we're dealing with right now. But it looks like he's slowing down a little bit as he's going through the canyon roads, making his way over to the Canyon from Malibu. Those LAPD units from the Van Nuys area still behind him, but still keeping their distance from him, Stu.
Keeping the distance. We just saw him cross those double yellows. That's so dangerous. That was one of the reasons why I went a little bit wider. Just want to make sure that if we see if somebody else is coming the other direction. This car slowing a little bit. Seems to want to pass that person, which you just got to think, this is so crazy. If you are impaired and you're on the wrong side of the road on Topanga Canyon, just trying to pass somebody, it's look at that.
Oh.
Yep, right there on a turn. So you just got to feel for those person going the other direction. You're seeing the headlights coming towards you. It's very dangerous, very scary stuff for sure. LAPD, they are overhead. They have the units behind them. And Lena, you're right. If it has paper plates, they don't know who this vehicle is registered to. They're actually trying to make a new law where that is not allowed anymore. They've been talking about that for some time. All vehicles have to have license plates and registered to the owner. So things might change possibly because of times like this. If they had a registered owner, they could back off, go door knock it tomorrow or whatever. Right now, though, this vehicle is still working its way through the Topanga Canyon area. We haven't hit Mulholland yet, so we're not quite at the halfway mark. Luckily, we've seen maybe one or two close or semi-close calls. He hasn't hit anything, which is a huge plus. But he's still making his way through Topanga Canyon. I don't know if we're actually in Topanga yet, but if we aren't, we will be shortly.
You know, we all sort of held our breath just a few moments ago, Stu, and we saw that driver narrowly hit someone going the opposite direction, and you could just see how close those cars are passing him. So this is certainly extremely precarious, very dangerous right now, and obviously we just hope that this comes to a peaceful end, but we keep asking you, where do we go from here? How do they stop this guy, considering he is such a danger?
You know what? That's the thing. We're the media. We watch, we report, we see what's going on, and we just keep an ear out just to make sure that we're able to show what's happening. Right now, though, I don't have any secrets that I'm holding back to anybody. They are just basically in a following mode right now. They are lights and sirens. We are definitely in Topanga right now. You can see some of the buildings out there. I don't know if there's the old Topanga area, but I know there's a post office out here and some smaller stores. The speed limit does drop down as you make your way into that area, but all the vehicles seem to be just kind of moving along at that same pace. He has come close to a couple pedestrians. We know right now, just kind of driving along. Hopefully he's not going to try to make another one of those erratic, wrong side of the road changes, passing some of these vehicles, because they seem to be slowing him down. The reality is, though, one way or another, law enforcement will probably hook this guy up. The cuffs will go on him somewhere. And here we go again, wrong side of the road, speeding up. One of those people right there probably drives the canyons a lot. I mean, I know for a fact when I'm in my truck and somebody's behind me like that, I usually find a spot and kind of just hug the curb to let them pass. That seemed to be what happened right there. The person behind him kind of moved over. No lights and sirens, probably just like, what is this jerk doing? So right now, just driving along, coming up to a red light right there, running through that red light as we're moving through the old Topanga area. So we're going to be getting closer and closer to the valley. I got to wonder, though, maybe LAPD's got a little something for him as he pops out the other side when we get back into the city of Topanga Canyon. Yeah,
it looks like he's been able to put some distance between himself and the LAPD units behind him. And so this is what authorities are having to deal with. So they're pursuing a suspected DUI driver. Now, they don't want to get too close if he starts driving too erratically and create more of a hazard, but they can't just let him go because he's out on the streets, possibly impaired, and could cause harm to other people. And so that's kind of the fine line that authorities have to walk as they're trying to pursue this guy. But still, I'm seeing that he's having to slow down wherever he's going, but we don't see the units behind him. It looks like he's been able to put a few cars behind him.
He has put a little bit of distance behind him, but you know, they always say it, you can't outrun the radio. Might even be able to outrun the helicopter sometimes, but you can never outrun that radio. I've just been told before we get to Topanga Canyon, we're actually going to go through Woodland Hills. So as soon as we get back into the city, maybe out of this canyon area, more like towards Ventura Boulevard, that type of spot, they might have a little something for him right there. Who knows? I'm just speculating. Don't have any insight on what's going on. But he's still moving along, and we say we've seen in the past they've turned out to be female drivers, so we're just saying the suspect right now driving this vehicle impaired through the canyons this evening, making some choices that would lean towards somebody who has impaired choices, cutting people off, going through red lights, made that crazy right turn from the left turn lane earlier on. So we're seeing it makes sense why they want this person stopped. This car just continues to move along, though, a little faster than what the posted speed limits are. I'm looking out the window and running the camera. I can see some curves coming up, but he's riding those brakes quite a bit. So I'm wondering if he knows this area or if there's actually some traffic ahead of him.
Well, he may be going back to the valley since that's where this all began, and that's probably where he's most comfortable. We see often with pursuits that people tend to stick to areas that they know. This driver, of course, got on the 405 southbound, then got off on surface streets in Santa Monica, drove around there for some time before getting onto the PCH northbound, then getting onto Topanga here in Malibu, heading back to the valley. So he's making sort of a circle back to where this all began just earlier this evening. So, Stu, the one thing about the fact that this road is pretty, there aren't a lot of options for him to get off. It's pretty one direction. They could possibly set up spike strips ahead of this.
Well, there's always that option, but you also have to remember there's a lot of other traffic that might be coming through there. They might be waiting for him. We don't know. As far as options go, you'd have to be pretty good with this area. There are some turnoffs. A lot of these are dead-end streets, very residential up here. So, if he does take one of these turnoffs, he might just put himself into a dead-end area. Going back to areas that we've seen that so often in the past, and he made just a giant circle this evening. Starting out, like Lena said moments ago, Roscoe in the 405, took us out towards Santa Monica, down PCH, on to Topanga. We're going to be in Woodland Hills here very shortly, so we're going to be getting closer to where it started. That light you see right there, that's an LAPD helicopter. They still have units behind them, lights and sirens. Those two that have been following them ever since this thing started. There they are in that wide shot. So they are close enough by, and they might just be keeping their distance just in case this guy pulls over, and then they're close enough by where if he starts to run, they can just get there and take the person into custody. Right now, we see lights on inside the car.
Yeah.
Got to wonder what he's thinking. What's really scary about this is it's one lane, one direction, one lane, the other direction. If he crosses the line, or it's so dangerous. The cars going the other direction are so close to this vehicle. So that's what I personally am worried about right now. But anyways, we're in the Woodland Hills area as we're making our way back to the city or the valley. And sure, when we get back to the closer to Topanga Canyon, we'll see some other officers from LAPD, at least there to join the pursuit.
Yeah, what kind of options does he have here, Stu? If he keeps on going, does he hit the 101 and then he has to decide whether or not he gets on the freeway?
Well, he's going to have Ventura. There's going to be a lot of other little smaller streets before that. Mulholland, I haven't been really paying attention. My bad. So I don't know if we've passed Mulholland. I'm pretty sure we have. So he's pretty much, we have not yet passed Mulholland. So you might take Mulholland. There's that option. Right now, though, we're still kind of just winding our way through the roadway or through Topanga. Some of those, so I'm not going to call them hairy, but there's some pretty sharp hairpins coming up here shortly. If there's traffic, if he's been blocked in, something might happen right there. Looked like he was hugging that emergency lane there for just a second. That kind of weaving around, that type of driving is what got their attention to begin with, and that's what got this thing going. Some vehicles pulling over right there. Don't know if they're hearing the lights and sirens or perhaps seeing them in the rearview mirror, doing what they're supposed to do. This guy, though, just keeps on moving as we're making our way, winding through the canyons this evening. Not incredibly high speeds, but it's definitely any kind of movement is enough to hurt somebody if there's a collision.
Well, you just mentioned, Stu, I mean, these canyons are pretty difficult to drive sober, let alone if you're under the influence of some type of substance, as police believe this driver could be, which is why they try to pull him over to begin with in the Van Nuys area. So certainly not only dangerous for people going by, but also for the driver himself. So right now it seems like he is still swerving.
He's still swerving. The sharp turns are starting to they're getting closer and closer to him. Mulholland will be coming up here in just a moment or two. I'm pretty sure off at Topanga Canyon, Mulholland isn't one of these major crosses, but it'll be something that we'll be able to see. We're probably, I would almost say that we're in Woodland Hills right now, or very close to the Woodland Hills area. His speeds have slowed down, so he might know this area. If he plans to jump out somewhere in here and run into the darkness on the hillsides, that could be his plan too. There are less and less homes in this little pocket right here as we're making our way pretty much downhill now. That's the other thing too. We've shifted from climbing the hill to dropping down the hill. So we're making our way back into the valley. That light that keeps coming across right there, that's going to be LAPD. They are keeping an eye on it. They are making the calls. They are letting their friends, their brethren know that this vehicle is making his way closer and closer to them. What's going to happen when they get there? That's remains to be seen. But this pursuit continues this evening. It started in Van Nuys, went through Santa Monica, Topanga Canyon's where we are right now, Woodland Hills, and this car continues to evade officers, but moving slower and slower this evening. Probably not because of a problem with the vehicle. Probably maybe he's starting to realize, maybe I should just pull over. This is a little too dangerous. And of course, when you're getting into traffic, these people out here obeying the laws, creating an issue for this guy this evening trying to flee police.
Well, he's getting a little bit closer to this car. We've seen him pass on a double yellow at least twice going through these canyons. It looks like he's about to do it again. Had a close call last time he did that with an oncoming car, and that would, to me, that would have been a close call right there, right? But just to catch our viewers up, this has been going on for more than half an hour now. Started on the southbound 405 at Roscoe just before 8 o'clock. The West Valley Division, LAPD from the West Valley area, still chasing this driver suspected of being under the influence of something. And they've got 2 units behind him. They've got the chopper on top. We've got Stu Mundell up above him. And it looks like he chose a pretty good road to go on, Stu, because he's had a good run of it with actually very little traffic.
Very little traffic indeed, and you can see right here we're getting to those hairpins, and there is a lot of traffic because people have to slow down when they get through this area right here. So you can see the LAPD vehicles getting closer, maybe not by their personal design, meaning they're not speeding up to get closer to this person. This person actually slowing down, so the distance is closing as well. That vehicle still moving along. There is a traffic in front of them, a lot of traffic. Well, a lot of traffic for what we've seen. For the most part, he's at nothing. So one car would be a lot right now. That SUV, that Mercedes SUV right there, finally just kind of pulling over, and maybe he's actually just going home. And but LAPD, they are right behind him. Lights and sirens, other vehicles on the road probably hearing it and seeing it. And northbound Topanga Canyon, and we're going through the hairpins right now. So we're in Woodland Hills. And we're going to be starting to get a little bit closer.
And what also makes this dangerous, Stu, is the fact that there aren't many options for drivers in front of him to pull over, because these are very narrow roads here and sharp turns. There's really not a lot of options for folks who are just trying to get out of the way.
Well, that's true too, and that may be one of the reasons why the officers from LAPD are falling back a little bit. They don't want people trying to pull over and do the right thing and possibly create another type of situation. I do know that the LAPD units that are behind him may be getting a little bit closer as we get out of the canyon area and we start getting back onto the flatlands out here in the valley area as we make our way into Topanga Canyon. Right now, though, they are still behind him. Lights and sirens, LAPD above him. And you can see the distance has actually gotten a little bit wider. But now the road's getting a little wider as well. And we'll see, Lena, he might pick up. We're approaching Mulholland right now, so we're going to be getting close to Mulholland in just a moment. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen if he makes his way onto the freeway, takes Mulholland. He's got plenty of choices as we're getting closer to Topanga Canyon. One of them that we don't want to see, we're using the wrong side of the road.
Right, and then as he gets closer to the freeway or to wider roads, then the authorities will have kind of more in their arsenal to try to get this guy to pull over, whether that be a pit maneuver. They certainly can't do that now when they're on these windy canyon roads, but looks like he's making his way back down. That looked like one of the more major roads that he just bypassed right there, and he continues to go. Looks like he's running into a little bit more traffic right now, too.
Yeah, that was Mulholland Drive.
Yep,
now it looks like he's on the opposite side of the road again, about to encounter more traffic. Oh, and there was somebody there, it looked like on a motorcycle.
Peter, that person on a motorcycle gave him, let's just say, a verbal cue that he did not appreciate him driving towards him. The car's still continuing on, though, as we're moving down. We're still on Topanga Canyon Boulevard, and we're going to be making our way into like more of a city area, more. And it's the traffic. See, I just can't believe that he keeps running along the wrong side of the road out here. We haven't seen any other cars. His view probably a little bit better, but still using the wrong side of the road to pass, extremely dangerous for anybody. LAPD still behind him. We're going to be getting closer and closer to Ventura Boulevard. We're going to see more and more cars out here. Anybody that lives in this area knows that right there by the 101, there's a lot of malls, shopping areas, restaurants. It gets very crowded out here, and especially this time of night when people are vacation. There's the spike strip. There was the spike strip.
There it goes.
Don't know if they actually used it. I don't know if it worked, but there was that spike strip. So making his way positive. We're understanding a positive that at least he did hit one of the spikes. So we just went through Ventura Boulevard. We're getting close to the 101, stopping all of a sudden, maybe because he's got a flat tire.
Well, what's interesting now is the LAPD units actually have to catch up to him, because it looked like, as you said, Stu, that the police were actually waiting for him. They were able to get that spike strip out. Here come the authorities. They're right on him now. He has stopped, but he has not gotten out of the car. And those are civilian vehicles that the police are now telling to get out of the way, right?
Yep, that's right. And not sure what that was about. Maybe he was one of the persons he passed earlier on. It's flat tires. Keys are out of the car already. Hands are out, and it seems like he's starting to do his thing. We're getting a little bit of heat in our shot right there. We got to move Sky 9 just a little bit around.
He's getting out with his hands up.
You can see this. hands out, is starting to follow those directions, just doing what the officers say. It's always amazing how they just are so defiant till the end, and then all of a sudden it's exactly what those officers want. Walking around, he's getting a little bit, it looks like he's going to be getting a little bit of the last of his substance that was for his impaired driving. Out of the way as he's putting himself down there onto the ground. Kind of curious if there was somebody else in the car. We never heard if there was anybody else, but right now getting his last puffs in. He's on the ground and laying face down. Officers from LAPD, though, they still are not lightening up. This is a very serious situation. Traffic is still moving along the other side right there, but it does seem that this is coming to an end right now. Just a matter of time before they get the cuffs on this suspect.
And Stu, it's incredible to think that there were no injuries or any accidents during this pursuit, considering how close this driver came to hitting people, not just other drivers, but also someone on a motorcycle we saw, and even pedestrians.
Oh, that's right. You know, and Peter, so many of these chases end this way. Nobody's hurt. There's no damage. One person is going to go to spend some time behind bars in custody. LAPD, all the law enforcement in the Southern California area that we interact with, their professionalism is what keeps people safe. Those persons behind the wheel, those are the issues. And right now, you can see this person going into custody this evening, and obviously, it's the beginning of a 3 or 4 day weekend for some people. So chances are he might be behind bars for some time. Wanted to have some fun and drive around this evening. Easily could have been avoided him going to jail. Luckily, though, my point is, luckily, though, no damage to anything. Nobody's been hurt. LAPD got that guy in custody. Coming to an end out here, basically on Topanga Canyon, very close to the 101 freeway. Woof is right. We're pretty close. You got to go past the old Boston's chicken. Yeah, just past Ventura. That's Ventura right there. Done with me. We took the canyon. Tim Conway Jr. tweeting me, texting me. Thank you. And my wife sending me pictures of cats. I'm not sure if we're still up on the web, but if we are, this has come to an end out here. Luckily, nobody was hurt. This thing was going for quite a while. Speeds, I mean, you know, I'm not saying anything like that, but it's a Hyundai. You know, it was moving along at an okay clip. Let's just leave it at that for some time. Those driving against the traffic, though, that's what it was. Every time I saw that, I was like, oh, ho, ho. So, Nicole is my wife, and they're our cats, but yeah, let's just say pictures of cats. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's up with our podcast. We got a podcast out there in the air with Stu Mundell. We had Petros and Money on the show, so that was, believe me, I showed up for a Battle of the Wits with unarmed. Let's just leave it at that. Those guys were awesome. It was incredible fun talking with those guys. Right now, though, this is a termination of pursuit here in Topanga Canyon. We got the podcast. I don't know if it's up yet. You can find it pretty much anywhere if you get your podcast from, I understand. Spotify, the only holdout right now. Don't know what's up with you guys, Spotify. So you got that going on. If you guys are wondering about the stickers, I got to toss that out there too. I ran out. We're making more. We're gonna get them to you guys, or I'm gonna get them to you guys as soon as I can. They did use the spike strips right before Ventura Boulevard. Right in front of Tasha's husband's office. Well, that's cool. It's all over. This is all done. We're going to find out what's going on, what's next on our dance card. But the pursuit's coming to an end out here. Flat tires is spike strips what brought this thing to an end. And we'll check in with you guys later. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys are already following me, but if you haven't, Rotorhead 8, that's going to be Brennan's Twitter. It's all one word, Rotorhead number 8, but it's not the number 8, it's Rotorhead 8, like he didn't write the word out 8, he wrote the number 8. He can't spell. 8's a big word for him. And I'm, of course, Stu_Mundell, M-U-N-D-E-L. Jason Kramer, love you, brother. He just tweeting me, thank you for the chase. I think he's down in Mexico, so it's nice to know that that our pursuits know no borders. So Riverside Air Support tweeting us too. I don't know. Chip Radkovich? Jeff Radkovich. No, it just says Riverside PD Air Support. So anyway, guys and gals, thank you guys for watching. That's what you're seeing right there is exhaust coming through the shot. Brennan is, it's windy today. It's windy today, and he's got a lot going on up there. So, and when I say up there, I'm talking about in his mind. In his mind. There's a lot of space, a lot of echoes. He's like, oh, you won't even play like that. A lot of evidence bags going on down there. So, let me check with the desk, guys. And 9 Hotel Simon Desk on 1. Just saying hi, Mark. It is amazingly light. We can try the 101 405. It's always pretty lights there. All right, hey interneters and Websters, we're off to go shoot holiday traffic. You can tell by the sound of my voice that I'm very excited about getting pictures of holiday traffic. So that's our next stop, the exciting life of a news helicopter camera person and crew. It's Stu and crew. This evening we are joined by the amazing. Hey, Mark, what's your last name? What? What's your last name? Like the guy with all the money? Now I see the resemblance. Anyway, so Mike Gates is with us today. Mark with a C, Gates. One of our super tech guys. When stuff breaks and I'm crying and curled up in a ball somewhere, he's the guy that comes over and says, "Oh, Stu, it's not that bad. We can fix it." And I'm like, "You just don't know, man." No. But he's up here with us this evening. And if you guys are going, well, why does he get to ride along? He works for the company that does the camera and stuff and fixes things. So he got the secret in. He knew the secret handshake. So if you guys are wondering what we're looking at right there, I am too. That's going to be the 101 freeway, east and west, or is that north and south? I always kind of wonder why they say that, because it is east and west out here, but they change it up just to be different, I guess. You can read the sign as well as I can. We're going to use the amazing powers of SkyMap 9000. That's going to be Balboa, and the next street's going to be Haskell. We're going to be getting some pictures of beautiful holiday traffic. Did somebody actually ask me if I'm working today? Oh, Charles. No, I'm not. I thought it was Charles Stewart. I was like, Aren't you down there in the booth? I am off on Monday. You guys have the golden tones of Desmond Shaw. So I guess we are still live. Our numbers are dropping off. Our viewership about. No, that's because Mark's here. Nobody. They're like. All right. Hey, Simon Desk, just letting you know what you're looking at right there is going to be 405-101, extremely light. We'll peek over the hill. We'll see what LAX looks like. Stu and Brennan, yep, you know it. Shut up, no one cares is following me now on Twitter. I was going to say, is that my wife? I was going to say, that sounds exactly what she says to me. Get over yourself is follow. Oh, no, that is. Get over yourself is actually shut up, no one cares. I don't know if he thinks what kind of rap you're going to, he's saying I'm going to rap like it's over, or I'm going to rap like 4 and 2 and 3 and 1. When I get on the mic, the suckers run. Peter Dowd, that guy is funny. All right, Flood. And as soon as those stickers come in, holiday traffic, that's what they want, holiday traffic. We don't really see any, I mean, all right. All right. Yeah, that is pretty much, it's. All right, so Mark, what I'm doing right now is called a black balance. And then I'm going to actually use the, I brought the gain down to 0, and then I'm going to hit the test pattern here in a moment, right there, blind the pilot, and I'm going to grab a white balance off of that, and you can actually see the change in color, or the shift. See, it went from like a tingy to like a nice blue, and there you go. You got a correct white balance for nighttime. What else can you do with that test pattern? Like, if we have a problem with the camera and you pull up the test pattern, that means that the optical block is working, or the camera part is working. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I love you, man. I'm just messing with you. No, I'm talking to Mark. I'm sure somebody down there is going to Google it, and then they're going to be like writing us here in a minute. They're going to be like, "You idiot, Stu. You're such a dummy. How do you not know that stuff?" Charles is. John Kane is saying that Charles is doing an amazing job. Who's Charles? Go ahead, go ahead. This is going to be the 405 freeway south of the 10. But, I mean, we can say it's holiday traffic, but it's traffic, and it is the holiday. Here for the ride. Everybody's joining us just to go gather news. So that's Solo. That movie's going to be a hard sell. I mean, I'm going to go see it. I think everybody should go see it. What do you think, Mark? Looks good. Yeah, of course, everybody's going to go see it. But I mean, we know what Harrison looks like when he was younger, right? And we know his backstory, right? I think, you know what? I'm not even goofing around. I think that I think Chewbacca does look younger. I think they did something to make him look younger, like more puppyish. Simon Desk, would you like to see what the 405 through the pass looks like? So for some more holiday traffic, a different view? All right, we're not on the web anymore. We are grabbing B-roll of holiday traffic, and then we're heading back to base. You're welcome. Happy holiday.